Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. Okay. Yeah.
So what I plan to do is, so I want to skip tomorrow because I want to give you all a week's time. I heard Amit wanted for me to cover some of the interview topics, tricks, and all tips and all. How do we actually prepare questions related to interviews on Intune?
Mm-hmm.
So I will share some resources. Those are just publicly available, and I would give a week's time to check, review, do everything. And the last 2 hours, in the last 2 days, I would actually only talk about all the questions or all the topics that you think I need to be covered in additional. Okay. So we'll have 2 hours time on next week, Saturday or Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
and you can just list down all your questions and send it to me.
And also, are you also getting covered the co-management, Rajesh?
The I can cover because it's again a very vast topic. I'll just cover. Okay. So yeah, just make a list of the topics that you feel that is not covered or you have any questions
Yeah, because
for.
I think earlier it was said the co-management will be covered, so that's a reason because that's associated with the SSCM.
uh,
So that's the reason I just asked. I'm not sure if.
okay. No, we'll just cover the co-management with respect to Intune. So it's still the same, nothing magical there again. So yeah, we can cover that in detail as well. There's nothing stopping me to cover that. The only thing is the time constraint. Yeah, so just a second. Uh, any questions on the, I mean, do you all have any idea on the iOS enrollments?
No.
Okay, sure. Just give me a second. So just put that. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So, okay. So just like the way we were talking about the Android last week, right? For iOS, it's still the same, has nothing changes. And the only difference is we don't have as many methods as Android had. Yeah, so for iOS, we have just two kinds of device enrollment. Okay, so at a broader level, one we call as the typical MDM enrollment, where we enroll the device. The other one is a Apple Business Manager enroll device. That's more of a corporate device. Okay, so that corporate device is similar to the autopilot part. Yeah. So if you have personal devices, if you have all of your iPhones or anything, the way you actually enroll is you just go ahead and download your company portal. You log in with your Office 365 or Azure AD credentials, you authenticate it, and the device would be enrolled. So how I'll show it later, how it will actually enroll is. If you have used any kind of iOS enrollment, a certificate gets downloaded. You need to approve that certificate. It will be in the settings. Okay. So after that, after the certificates are downloaded onto your mobile device, the company portal will enroll the device and you will start seeing the applications installing in the back end slowly. So all the required applications. That's a very straightforward, simple kind of enrollment. The other enrollment is the Apple Business Manager enrollment, which is your DEP. Earlier, it was called as the Device Enrollment Program. Now it is called as the Apple Business Manager program. So there, if you are a company, you can purchase many iOS devices, right? Usually it will happen. I'm not sure about India. Nowadays, it's when India is developing. But if you go to schools in some of the Western countries or any other countries, almost all of the schools have iPads. They distribute iPads to college, university students, school students. Yeah. So along with that, there are so many of the cargo industry, all the shipping industry, all the logistic industry, they start using iOS devices for multiple purposes. Yeah, so they are actually shipped. Okay, so they're shipped. When I say shipped, they are registered to the Apple Business Manager and they just hand it over to whoever they want. Okay, no matter what, as soon as you power on, okay, so it will we hard code it right to check to your Apple Business Manager, and it says this device belongs to so and so organization, and that is when you start enrolling. You can add your device, log into your device with your corporate account. That still needs enrollment. Okay, so only thing is just how in Intune and Autopilot, if it's a Intune and if it's an Autopilot, you make the person who enrolls the laptop as the standard user, right, during the enrollment process. Similarly here, only an Apple Business Manager, you have an option to make the device as a supervised device. Okay. So it's very, you need to understand what is a supervised device. Okay. So supervised device is a device where an administrator can push more controls, restrict more policies. Okay, so you can do more things if it's a supervised device. So a supervised device is it's like when administrator has more control. It's not like your more ordinary iPhone or an iPad devices. Okay, so that on the same devices. IT administrator, even if the device is enrolled, there are few things that they don't have any control. Okay, so as you can see, all these things MDM functions can do it. Okay, so there are many controls apart from the normal MDM functions Intune can do on a supervised device. Okay, so I'll just show that you all cannot worry. So just a second. Anyone has enrolled iOS devices to their corporate? Can you see this video and also the audio? Hello,
Yeah,
just the
audio is
video.
not. Yeah, just a video, not the audio.
Okay. So yeah, this is a typical iOS device. So as soon as you see this conditional access is enforcing a user to enroll a device. Okay. So he clicks on enroll. This will take up, this will redirect to the App Store for company portal installation. So he'll get the app, he'll open the App Store. So this is the Intune company portal. So once he installs the company portal, so we'll approve the thing. So you'll be prompted with a screen where it asks if to get the device managed and update the device settings. You just need to click the begin button. Okay. So once you click, it gives you a warning. It just informs the end user, like, so he doesn't get suspicious as to what this MDM does. He just says this can never see, but this can see. And so this is a prompt that you will actually see. You need to click allow. Okay. So the profile will actually be in the settings application. Okay, it says review your profile in the settings app if you want to install it. Okay, so you can just close it here, go back to the settings. Okay, so come back, go back to the settings. Okay, so general here, so you can go to the settings. So this is how it looks like. This is a profile in the Apple device. Okay, unless user clicks on the install button, the profile won't get installed. Okay, as you can see, this is your, since it's your personal device, you have full control whether to install the profile or even to remove the profile. Okay, so you can install it, and after installing, if you don't like the device management, you want to you want to get out of your control of the Intune company portal, you have always the control to remove the downloaded profile, uninstall the apps or anything. Okay, but on a supervised device, the end user cannot do any of those things. Okay, so we can lock the device to completely managed. Okay, they cannot unenroll the device, they cannot remove the profile, they cannot uninstall the apps, they cannot do anything. Yeah, so if you actually need to properly control an iOS device, be it Mac or an iPad or an iOS, you need to use Apple Business Manager. Okay, only then you'll have the control, you have the power to register those devices, to make the devices as supervised. Sorry. Okay. And all the other enrollments, you just don't have control. The only thing that you can do is you can ask for enrollment. They will enroll the devices. They will download the applications. And if they unenroll the devices, all the applications along with the data will go away. So yeah, so he'll enter the passcode because to install a profile, he needs the device passcode. So this is the exact install. Yeah, as you can see, there are little bit steps involved for an end user to do the device enrollment. So even after doing all this, he needs to come back to the company portal and then click on continue. And this is where, yeah, he'll continue, and this is mostly done. Okay, so it says done and you're done. So this will open a company portal. So this is the home page of a company portal. So you'll see all the apps that is made available to you as an user. You can either install it. There are two options. We can provide option to the users to either install it from here. So these are standard applications. These are anyways available from App Store if they want to download it. But just to advertise, it's good to publish all the corporate related applications because these are fine. These are public. There might be some internal applications, right? So and then you can add advertisements. Now, if you go to all organizations, you will see many uh, applications, right? Just a car parking, you will have an application. Yeah, for ordering, for booking anything within the company organization, you will see so many applications for food, for delivery, for all kind of things that nowadays everything is an application, right? Everyone has it in a mobile phone. Yeah, so the HR also, the pay slips, everything you can see, and every business has their own application. HR has their own application. A simple referral thing as an own application. Some are available in public stores, and some are not. So we can't tell the users that all the applications go ahead and download. So rather than what this company app store does is this company portal acts like an app store. So you can download and categorize it as productive, HR, IT, all the help desk, all different kind of applications. You can just group it and advertise it. So whoever wants to install it, they can install it. Okay, and if you actually come to devices here in this section, you will see all the devices that are enrolled in here in Intune. So probably you'll see along with this iOS device, you will see your Windows laptop as well. Yeah, so these are the support. Yeah, so all this is support notifications and everything. And this is your profile, right? So if you just click it, you can reset your password, change your password, everything. So that is a simple way. So these are, yeah. So as soon as you install Outlook, at least in iOS, you don't have to enter passcode or anything. So if you installed anything, so you can enroll, you can log into OneDrive or any kind of corporate application without re-entering the password and username every time. Okay. So just like if you know, Microsoft has this aka.ms, right? So these are all shortcuts. So for everything, there is a shortcut. Okay. So if you say aka.ms enroll iOS, it gives you complete information of enroll iOS. aka.ms/enroll Android, it gives you complete information on Android. I'm talking about the user level documentation steps to be followed. Yeah, so there is so many other things. Yeah, ak.ms/intune, ak.ms/ Microsoft 365. So there's so many other URLs. So if you want ready-made URLs, you don't even have to search it. Okay, so you'll get it. So that is about it. Let me just go to navigation on how to configure it. Yeah. So, okay. So let's check how do we configure it. Anyone can guide me on, assume this is your brand new Intune console. Okay. So what do you think I have to do?
You have to integrate API certificate.
APS. Okay.
Rajesh, are we going to take the explanation of ABM in this lecture? ABN and the VPP?
Yes, yes. I'll just cover that. I'll talk about that today.
Okay.
We'll just go to Android and iOS. So this is the Apple push certification, right? So I don't have anything. So this is how it looks if it's a very new tenant, right? So the prerequisites is you have to create an Apple push certificate. So how do we click it? So this pops up with a screen on, and it also explains how to create an Apple push certificate. Yeah, so basically what you do, as you can see, nothing is set up here. So this is a certificate that's required. To understand why do we require all this certificate at this moment in today's world, it's not needed. Okay, so you don't have to worry. So this is just a certificate to establish a trust between the Intune, which is an MDM service, and the Apple service. So Apple just doesn't use permission to any server to manage a device, right? So they have this trusted mechanism where a known MDM service, which had previously worked with Apple. So if in this case, Microsoft and Apple have worked together and they have accepted Intune as one of their MDM service providers. So similarly, all the MDM service providers have to sign up an agreement with Apple so that you can actually create your own CSRs and upload it to Apple and then download a certificate and just put it here. So that's just a trust mechanism saying that Apple devices can be managed with the other MDM vendors. So I just click agree here. I'll download a CSR, which is the CSR is nothing but the certificate signing request. So for any certificate generation, you need to provide a request, and that is the exact request as this. So you can see here, I'll just create a Apple push certificate. I will just click this and check if I have anything here. So I just clicked onto my Apple ID. This is the portal, okay, idmsa.apple.com for downloading the push certificates. Okay, so there's so many of push certificates as you can see here, right? So only this is active. All others are actually expired. The one with JAMF, which I created a couple of years back. So it started from 2016, right? So I was using the MDM products the last 6 years. I have this my own account, so I can keep on renewing it. Yeah. So right now I want to create a brand new one, right? So I downloaded the CSR. I need to create it. and hence I opened this certificate. So I'll click on create certificate and then accept it. So I'll choose the signed certificate request. Yeah? So this is exactly the Intune CSR that I said. So this is, I'll just, so demo lab one, some information so that I don't get confused with that certificate. As you can see, this has actually detected that this is the service and this is a vendor. So I can download this. So it created a certificate. So I downloaded this certificate. Okay. As you can see, it's in the format MDM Microsoft PEM format. So I come back here. I'll just mention the Apple ID that you have used. So you can use anything that you want. This is nothing. It is really not linked. It's just for information purpose. You can enter anything that you want. Okay. So in your organization, just to make the IT administrators or your team for future purposes. Okay, so it is very important to know which Apple ID that you all used to create this certificate so that they can log into that particular Apple ID and download the certificates. It is very important to note that this certificate renews. You actually have to renew it every year. Okay, and if you forget to renew it every year, it's a bit critical because all of your devices have to be re-enrolled. Okay, so as long as they are renewed just well before in advance, as you can see, I'm uploading it and it will actually say me. Okay, I'll just upload this certificate. Okay, so I'll just close this and close this. As you can see, this is a subject. Okay, and this is a serial number, whatever I've entered here, and it expires exactly 365 days after today. Yeah, so this is the last updated. This is the expiration date. Okay, and after that, there's nothing more to do. This is the only minimum requirement for you to do for your Intune tenant to be Apple device management ready. There is nothing else. You don't need to do anything at all. Okay. And for people who have worked with the on-premise solutions, like the AirWatch, Mobile IN, or Workspace ONE, I mean, all the other things for the last 10 years, it was a very complex setup to do any kind of mobile device management. Okay. So usually what actually happened is, since this is a cloud service, almost everything is taken care by Microsoft. Okay. So if you use VMware Workspace ONE cloud service, even that is much easier because everything is actually taken care by VMware. Same thing with BlackBerry, same thing with all the other vendors. Reason being, you don't have to install the service. You don't have to install the server. You don't have to open any ports. You don't have to establish a connection with your service to your database, which is very important. Every on-premise product, be it SCCM, be it any other product, it needs a database. Either your product comes with a lightweighted database like SQL, or it will come, they'll suggest you to have an external database like an Oracle or your Microsoft MS SQL server, so that all of the data is actually stored in that database. So every product needs a database, correct? So you need to install the product. You need to open up the firewalls and you need to open up all the network connections. And since MDM servers and servers need to be accessed publicly, you have to find out and design an architecture where some of the sub services and some of the servers are exposed to your DMZ, I mean the public, and they are placed in the DMZ. And those services have to be connected to the SQL server for all these databases. So it's a very complex setup. Yeah? So it would usually take to 6 months to 1 year for setting up a MDM environment. And today it just takes 5 minutes, yeah, maximum 10 minutes to set up a MDM tenant. Okay, all you need to is money to buy a licenses, and once an organization has bought some licenses, they need to verify the domain and they are done. And coming back to enrollment, earlier they had something this Apple ports, right, 2195 2196, because the servers need to talk to the Apple services. Again, we don't have to do all that. This so Microsoft or any other cloud service vendor has already taken care that their service is already talking to the respective Apple services in the backend. Okay, so that preparation, that knowledge is now redundant. Okay, so we don't need that information anymore. Okay, so all we have to do when it comes to Intune and iOS, so this is the only mandatory requirement, and we don't know what happens in the future. Apple might remove it or anything. Okay, so for today, the enrollment, as you can see, I clicked enrollment. This is only prerequisites I have.
How does it work for a large corporate in a way you have about 600, 700 users?
And do what? I
Is
did not
it
understand.
just one ID which you would use to link with Apple and then publish
Yes,
those applications?
yes. So I haven't come to the applications, but applications is a different thing, right? So you can still add your applications.
So it's just that single ID which we have just discussed, which
So
link with
this
Apple
is,
to.
yeah, so this is linking. See here, usually what actually happens, assume this is your corporate IT admin account. Okay, so that's how they have to create. This is your IT administrator account. Okay, some company domain.com. So the one that you see here should be your IT generic email.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not a personal email. Okay, I have my personal email, it's fine, but it needs to be a corporate email. And this service, Intune service, is linking to the Apple. Just have some accountability. It has nothing to do with the end users. This only has to do with the Intune service and the Apple portal. We are just downloading a certificate. Only for downloading a certificate, we just need it. It can be any email address. Okay, any
Okay.
account. But for renewing, you still have to use the same account. If you want to, even if you're working in a company, you can still use your personal Apple ID, though it's not recommended. You can still use your Apple personal ID to log into your uh, this one, the Apple account, and then download a certificate. But after 1 year, if you leave the company, they have to contact you for renewal, so which is not good, right? So that's why it has to be a corporate generic company. Create a new Apple ID with your help desk account or with your IT admin account or IT manager account, and then he will actually have the username and password. So he will download the certificates and he'll just give it to you.
Got it. Yeah. Thanks.
So that's it. So, and as you can see, we have two methods of bulk enrollment. So Apple configurator, it's rarely used. And I think, yeah, so you can learn about it. So you can do some self-learning. So this requires uh, a, Apple machine, a USB. Okay, it's a physically connected. You have to connect your Apple devices to your Mac machine, use the Apple configurator, and then configure those machines. So it's used if their IT is heavy and if there's a process or they want to hand over, build all the devices and hand over to the end users, so they'll use it, or they can use something called as enrollment program tokens, which is nothing but Apple Business Manager. Okay, so this is Apple Business Manager. Okay, so let me just so let me talk about enrollment tokens. For that, so you need to create a enrollment token. Okay, so what is enrollment token? So no one will have this demos. Okay, so I can only because this requires a business manager account. Okay, so it's the same thing. Okay, the way we push the certificate, it's still the same thing. I click on add, I agree it. I download the public key. Okay, and once I download the public key, I need to go to Apple Business Manager or the School Manager. So ABM and school, if you're a school, you use the School Manager portal. If you're ABM, if you're a business and enterprise, use the Enterprise Business Manager. Yeah, so you log into this business.apple.com. So not everyone will have this error. I'm sorry, not everyone will have this account because it needs a trusted business. Yeah, so you have to prove that you're a business and you have to buy the Apple Business Manager license. It's not free, it's costing. Okay, so I'll just show how actually it
What is
looks
the
like.
function of this token, Raj? Why it's required?
Yeah, let me explain that to you.
Okay.
So let me know if you're able to see my screen, this one.
Yes.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, so this is the admin flow. Okay, so what administrator has to do it? Okay, so administrator, and so this is a document. If you can just check. So this will automatically enroll iOS devices into this. And why do we need this? We need this for supervised mode. We need for making the device to be corporate ready. Many other purposes, many other things that they have to do it. I'll just let you know. Okay. So this was an old portal, but it's still the same. We have to go to the enrollment tokens. Yeah, this is a bulk enrollment tokens where they have to download them. Okay, this is the first step. So we know till here. So download the public key. Okay, so this is the public key, which is nothing but Intune's key. Okay, now I have to establish a Intune relationship with the Apple Business Manager. Right, this is I have an Intune key. I go to this one, so I log into my account, and then yeah, you need to verify it. So this is the first thing that you see in the portal if you are a new login user. Right, so this is a device enrollment program, and this is a volume purchase program. So you say you enter this one, and then you choose a file. So the file that we just downloaded from the Intune portal, and this is the Apple portal. Okay, so you're done, and you want to open this one, the one that you did the token. So 1 second. Yeah, you entered it, you choose a file, you uploaded it, and your server token is ready, and you will actually download it. Okay, so this is managing devices. Okay, so in the same portal, you will have an option to enter those serial numbers. Okay, so there are two options. Either your reseller will add devices to you and you will see all the devices here, or you can actually have your own serial numbers of your devices. Okay, so that you can assign that to a server. So I have assigned this serial number to this particular server. Okay, in this Apple Business portal. Okay, so right now what happens is this is the assignment history. So I'll have the list of the serial numbers, and I'll have different, if I have different MDM servers. So if I don't have a different MDM servers, it's much easier. You can assign all of the devices in a single click and thus assign it to a single server. So that is how mostly it is. But there are people who are migrating from other solution to Intune. So in that case, you will actually see 2 or 3 mobile device solutions. In that case, that's why they have given this portal where you select different things. So now you come back to your Intune portal. Okay, you add your account here, and then the Apple token that you have downloaded from the previous step, which is the Intune portal, sorry, the Apple Business Manager portal, you upload it. So this is in P7M format. Okay, so it's very simple, as you can see, to add an enrollment program token. So these are the steps you need to follow. First, agree, download the Intune public key. This is an Intune public key. Okay, so you go to the Apple Device Manager, Device Enrollment Program is the Business Manager, and then follow the steps there. It's very simple there as well. You just upload this one, it returns you this one, the Apple token. Yeah. So once you do this, you can just create it. And as soon as you create it, this is how you'll actually see it. Okay, so once you create it, okay, so there is an option called sync here. Okay, as soon as you synchronize here, okay, so you will see all the devices here. Okay, so which are these devices? These are the devices that have server. Yeah, so the whatever the devices that we have seen there in the Intune service, sorry, for all the Apple devices, we have linked those devices with a particular server. So all the servers, all the devices will actually be seen here. Okay, so before that, you'll not be seeing these things. So the flow is you purchase devices from Apple or a trusted reseller, and you'll see all the devices in your Apple Business Manager. Yeah, if you have purchased 100 devices, you will see all the devices alone. And you can select few devices, or you can group those devices and assign those devices to Intune service, Intune server. So what I'm saying, okay, I have 100 devices belonging to my organization, and I want these devices to be managed by Intune MDM server. So I select all the devices and I just click assign this to Intune MDM server. And once I do that, if I sync here, I'll see all those devices here in the Intune. Yeah, so that is the reason why we established this trust. Yeah, the trust is established between Apple Business Manager and Intune with this certificate exchange. Yeah, so the public and private key exchange it established. So we are trusting each other now. So as soon as we click sync here, we'll see all those devices here. And now once we see those devices, we can assign a Intune profile to the device. Yeah, so I don't have the serial number and hence this is grayed out, right? So I can select this serial number and assign. Okay. Now let's see. I have these two devices here. I have an iPad Air and then I have the iPhone. So I have the devices. I click the sync. I can see all the syncs here. And now I can create a profile. And before that, I'll create a profile. I'll come back to the profile section here in this section. I'll create a profile and this is how the profile looks like. Name of the profile, the enroll with user affinity. Okay. And the Apple setup assistant. So the device management and the setup configuration. So if you want to see how actually this looks like, this is how it looks like. So the configuration settings is the supervised, logged enrollment, and synced all. So if you want to
So,
supervise,
sorry to interrupt this. So these are basically for the control devices, right?
yes,
Okay.
correct.
So this Apple Business Manager is basically meant for the control devices, right, Rajesh?
Not necessarily. Okay. So as you can see, right? So it says supervised is yes. Okay. I can still click no. Okay. So Apple Business Manager is to start enrolling from unboxing. Okay. So if it's a brand new device, Apple Business Manager is nothing but if you have brand new devices. Okay. Completely newly purchased devices. And if someone wants to start, and those are corporate devices, and if they need to enroll the devices right from the start, right from the beginning, yeah, that is when they have to have this Apple Business Manager. Yeah, so as I just explained, if you are a new organization and if you think your organization is distributing Apple laptops or Apple iPads for everything for work purposes, then as soon as you unbox the Apple machine, it'll be a corporate device. It'll not be a personal device because those are connected to Apple Business Manager already.
Right.
Yeah. So, and you have the power to make the device as a supervised or a non-supervised device. Supervised is you'll have more control as an IT admin. And for non-supervised device, you will not have any control. Okay. And this locked enrollment, as you can see, it's yes, which means see, and this is more restrictive. Okay. So I put supervised so that I'll have more control. And I'll say logged enrollment is yes, which means that the enroll, I don't, I mean, user doesn't remove the enrollment profile. He cannot unenroll the device. It will always be enrolled. Sync with computers. Yeah. So it will sync with computers because that's the thing. Let's show up all of your properties. So now set up order.
Is this something you pay to Apple and subscribe to service, or is it free?
You actually pay for Apple as a starting fee, as a account generating and maintaining fee.
I see. Okay. So technically, you're looking at license for Intunes. On top of that, you have to have ABM as well. Yeah.
Correct.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah. So it's a more of a business account rather than an app. It's nothing but just a business account where you manage your devices and also manage the VPP, the volume purchasing licensing.
Got it. Yeah. Thanks.
So that's it. Okay, so when you this is the setup assistant. Okay. So nothing but when you purchase a new device, you'll get all of these settings. You can either have an option to show or hide. So that is assuming I click all hide and just the password I show, and then just create this profile. So I now have a profile. I go on, click add the devices. I can select the devices for this profile. Yeah. So what do I have now is you can, if I have multiple profiles, I can set as a default profile. Okay. So basically to better understand this, I purchased, just to summarize, you can purchase devices from trusted Apple reseller like Ingram Micro, CDW, or any other hundreds of Apple resellers. You ask them to add those devices to your organization Apple Business Manager account, ABM account. And then those devices, you need to establish a trust between Intune and Apple Business Manager. And you need to sync those devices. And once you sync those devices, you need to create an Intune profile and assign those profile to the synchronized devices in your Intune. So now that we have done, we'll see what actually happens in the user profile. So this is how end user looks like. Okay, so I think there's a video. So this, I'm just playing this video. Let me know what actually happens. So the end user just power on the device. Okay, he just powered on the device. So this is what it happened. So it says remote management. Okay, so someone is managing the device remotely. So I'm just unboxing. Okay, this is an unboxed brand new device. Nothing. Okay. This is how simple company portal installation. So next, let's go to next and see how the entire ABM thing works. Okay. This is the legacy auth. I just wanted to do that. And this is just endless. So this is how it happens. Okay. This is the modern new way of doing the remote management. So if you want to know about remote management, you can just click on this and this is what it sees. And this is about your remote management server. Right now it says Microsoft IT department. So yeah, you can have your own information here. So basically it's your tenant name and your phone numbers that you use. So you just click on next here. This will install. So remote management is now you can authenticate yourself, username and password. And this will install the thing and it will ask for your passcode. Welcome to iPad. And this is the rest of it is a simple company. This is a non-company. The previous one was a non-company portal experience. Okay. Just from the setup assistant. Okay. Now we'll just check about with the company portal, how it actually looks like. Okay. You enter and so it's still the same. Okay. You just need to confirm the device as a serial number. People usually don't use it, but there are some customers who actually use these and then categorize this. The simpler is the first video that I showed. Okay, because there are many companies actually asked for different type of experiences, either company control or non the settings based management. So 90% of the customers, the way they use it is just unlock the device, enter the passcode, enter the username and password of your organization, MFA, and then Apple device will prompt you for a device level passcode. You can set the passcode, and then all the applications will be installed in the backend along with the policies. Okay, that's the easiest setup, and that's how 90% of the people do it. Because there are other companies, the other products that they have, their approach is different, and there are few customers who like that approach, and they have asked Microsoft even for the company portal approach and all. But that's all not necessary. You'll have multiple approaches, but the standard Apple Business Manager approach is straightforward. It's just installing applications once the device is completely enrolled. Okay. So what we can actually do with this? Okay, so there is something called VPP. It's still the same, exactly the same. There's nothing changing. Okay, so if you actually go to tenant admin, sorry. So 1 second. Where's
So Rajesh, once the device is enrolled, can both user and Intune admin unenroll the device?
you have those options actually. Intune admin anyway can enroll the device, unenroll the device remotely.
Okay.
Okay, so but
What about user?
user, you have an option. I showed you one option in the screenshot, right? Where locked enrollment.
Right.
Okay, so if you uncheck it, if you say yes, the enrollment will be locked, which means that end user cannot unenroll. It'll be grayed out. And for other guys, we can actually, if you say no, you'll have an option to unenroll the device.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this is
And
the
it is,
same.
sorry,
Yeah.
just one thing more. So I understand the concept for the, for the business devices. So let's suppose when you enroll a device, as you said, 90% of the companies, what they do is you just, download the company portal and then just log in with your credentials and, all the policies and everything will be pushed. What was that method though?
90% of the companies, what I actually said was, within the Apple DP, Apple ABM, we have multiple ways of configuring the system. Okay, but
Right.
the easiest option, and that most of the companies do it, is a setup assistant method. Okay, the setup assistant method is nothing but it will just be like using your new iPad or a new phone. You can just click on next, next, next. Okay, so it's all self-explanatory, and the only thing it asks you is to enter username and password and enrolls the device. And after the device is enrolled, you will have all the applications installed, including your company portal. Okay, so that is how is the Apple Business Manager. The one that you just explained is a personal device enrollment. Okay, if you have your own personal iOS device, and if your organization has restricted your corporate applications, okay, saying that only you will only get access if you enroll the device to Intune, then you can go to App Store, you can download your company portal and enroll the device. The first video that I just showed you, it's up to you, you enroll the device.
Okay.
Okay, the similar way to the ABM, so we have VPP. It's again exactly the same thing, nothing different. So yeah, so you actually download the token, generate the token in the Apple Business Manager. Okay, there is straightforward token name, you'll get it, and then add the VPP token file. Okay, only two things that you needed, and this you'll actually get in the Apple Business Manager. So yeah, no one has any access to Apple VPP tokens. Usually no one gets this. Even in our company also, very few people have it. So unless you are a organization, you'll not get access to this. So this, you will actually see, the only reason why you actually need it is if it's a school, right? So Say, for example, there are some educational apps. Okay. So company will purchase on your behalf all those apps and assign. Say, for example, if there are 500 students, if they need some application, like, say, Byju's. Yeah, Byju's is a common application that most of the Middle East nowadays use it, right? It's in their schools. So you can purchase Byju's subscription licenses in Apple, the Apple App Store. So you can link those into your volume purchasing program. So volume is just many purchasing programs. So you purchase it and you synchronize those licenses here, licenses or subscriptions or so mainly in the backend it's licenses. Okay. So you can install the application, but every time a person has assigned this application, it's consuming a license. It's kind of that. Okay, so for whoever is assigned, so the applications will be installed. So that's one way of purchasing. So if I go to apps and iPad, yeah, so I'll see those devices. So I'll see those applications here. I can just select those applications and then assign it to users or devices. Okay, so I think I'm done. No, I don't. Okay, so that, yeah. So that is about it when it comes to iOS enrollment and then apps. So apps is again pretty much easy as I was just showing you, right? So there's all these applications. If you have an inbuilt application, the IPA, you have to upload it here. Okay. So if you want to have iOS store app, you can just search it here. So you can just click on search the app store and then anything that you want to store. So say for example, you have to put WhatsApp. So you can just put WhatsApp Messenger and then you'll see all of the details here. Click next and then say assign to all users, all devices, all groups. Okay. So it's nothing but these are the applications that are there within the public store. Yeah. You don't have to really worry about whether users install it or not. Okay. Unless it's a very unfamous application. So as you can see, I have already this one. So, but generally, though there are some applications which are not published in App Store. So in that case, you use this something called as line of business application. So line of business application is their internal corporate application, which is not available to everyone. So in that case, the developer of your business will develop an iOS application in IPF format. For Android, it is APK. For iOS, it's IPA. So all these applications are created in this format, and you need to upload all these applications right away in this Intune console. So you can just select, yeah. So we'll get this select IPK package. So this is, if you have an IPA application, you can install it. Okay. So, and that will show up here and you can just push it just like any other user. So for iOS, it's very simple. It's a line of business application or it's an iOS Store application. So this web application is just a web click. Okay. So no one uses it. Same thing with web link and built-in application. So I don't know about built-in application. I've never used it. So line of business and this one. For Mac OS, it's .bkj. So Windows, yeah, as you all know, it's MSI, APX, all these formats. I'm talking only about the line of business applications. So coming to configuration profiles, if I go to configuration profiles, so in just like all the other platforms, we have settings, catalog, and also templates. So these are the things that you can actually do with iOS. Okay. So device restrictions. Yeah. How do I restrict something? Okay. Let me just click test. Okay. Next. So any setting that you see here, right? So it has two things, all enrollment types, which means I can push these settings for all enrollment types. Okay. So if it's a personal device, if it's an Apple Business Manager, School Business Manager, or device enrollment or user enrollment methods, all these enrollment methods, I can push it for all users. Okay. So only these, but these settings, block iCloud, photo sync, my photo stream, handoff, all these 4 settings, I can only push if the device is device enrollment and automated device enrollment method. And this is automated device enrollment method. So I can push this if these settings work with Apple Business Manager and Apple Business Manager with DP. Okay, the same thing formally. So what I really meant here is any settings you open, okay, I can either, it will clearly tell me for which these settings are applicable. Yeah, if it's a personal device, I don't have full control, right? I have limited control. If it's a supervised device, this includes devices supervised through Apple Configurator. Okay, so this is Apple Configurator devices. So this clearly explains to which this will apply. Okay, so this includes supervised devices. Every setting that you see, shared iPad. Okay, so this only works if it's an automated device enrollment. Yeah, so I can either block it or I can click no. Restricted apps. Can I restrict some application? Very common thing that they will ask, right? Every organization will say, oh, I have a corporate device. I want to restrict Facebook. I want to restrict Instagram. So can you actually do it? No, you cannot do it if it's a personal device. You can actually do if the device is a supervised device, right? So only if it's a Apple Business Manager device with the supervised device. Right? So if it has to be a supervised device, then you can actually add the restrictions here. Okay? So you can approve apps and prohibited apps. So you can start using Apple Store URL, Apple Bundle ID, and then you can start all the list of all the applications that you want to block in your corporate applications. Yeah, so very simple. Yeah, if it's a CSV format with this format, the same thing here. And if you think you have a list of applications that you have collated, you can just import it in a CSV format. So show or hide apps. Yeah, supervised device. Okay. The same thing. Okay. You want me to show apps or visible apps, anything. So as you can see, I have full control if the device is a supervised device. And if the device is not a supervised device, I have very limited control in every setting. So built-in apps. So if it's a built-in apps, I can only block Siri. I can block Siri while the device is locked. I can require Safari fraud warnings. These are the only things that you can do if it's a personal device enrolled. Okay. All enrollment types. And this, I cannot do it. I can do it only if it's these, as you can clearly read, these settings works for devices that were enrolled in Intune through device enrollment and for devices enrolled using Apple School all the Business Manager. This includes supervised device. So you can do with everything if as long as it's a device enrollment. And this only works if it's an automated device enrollment. So you can do many more things. You can block iMessage. You can block Apple Books, Apple News, all this iTunes, iStore, everything you can block if it's a properly automated device enrollment with Apple Configurator. So yeah, there's no point in understanding all this. So if you, based on whatever the requirement is, we can just if you are working in any company, you can actually identify what is possible from MDM and what is not, and you can actually propose, request, advise, or anything that you wanted to do it. But whatever settings that you see here, right? It's the same for almost all of the MDM providers in the market. Yeah. So whatever the controls that I have seen here, it will be the same for Intune. It will be the same for the JAMF. It will be the same for Mobile Iron or AirWatch, or I mean Workspace ONE or any other product. Why? Because Apple has some MDM APIs exposed for the MDM vendors. So they'll announce it in one day. They'll just work with their partners, and it's a very simple way of developing the product, right? So it's just translating whatever MDM announces, they'll Apple announces, they'll just translate into this code. So if someone comes and says, so and so company gives me so much control in Apple devices, yeah, so 90% of the companies will do the same. Even if you go with the least Apple MDM, which is a micro focus MDM, I think that's a very $1 per user per month. Even those people also have the same controls, and even other people, even Intune or JAMF also has the same controls as long as I mean, I'm only talking about the device controls. Okay, it's still the same. So it's mostly dictated and by Apple. Okay, not the MDM thing. I cannot say Intune, I'll do something on your Apple device. Yeah, I cannot do it. Yeah, so because Apple has to allow to do it, and then only then every MDM will put a control on how to do it, put a configuration on how to do it. So it is usually controlled by Apple rather than any of the MDM providers. So yeah, that's about configuration. So this is again self-explanatory, right? So compliance policies here is we talked about the same thing. So how do you, when do you say your device is compliant? So I define the list of the settings. So if I want my iOS device to be compliant, I want, obviously, right? So jailbroken, I don't want the jailbroken devices. So I want to block them. Yeah. So I just want to block them. And yeah, so these are a lot advanced if you think you need some, if you have integrated with Defender for Endpoint, you can use the Defender for Endpoint score and consider this as medium high, not configured. Okay. So that's how you create an iOS policy.
So I just have one question, Rajay. Since Microsoft Defender is part of Microsoft, can we just do it with the for Defender policies? Are they worked on the iOS as well?
Defender policies for iOS?
Yes.
Let's check. I don't know. So I'll go to endpoint security. So if I go to antivirus, create a policy. Okay. It has only for Mac OS and Linux. Okay, so I cannot push antivirus policies. Let's check firewall. Of course, you'll not have anything for Mac OS, only for the lab desktops we have. So EDR, right? It's again just this. So the Defender for Endpoint, what actually happens when it comes to, there is nothing like policy. Okay, so the application itself is scanning all of the things. Okay, all you have to do is you have to push a Defender for application from your application, from your app store. Okay, so if you're using iOS, you just click it. I'll tell you how actually that works. So you just need to, sorry. Okay, so you just need to add this application. Okay, that's all you have to do. Okay, that's the first thing. Assign this Defender application to all users. So this application, you have to be very careful because all on Android, it will actually create a VPN tunnel. Okay. So same with iOS also. Only thing is users will not be able to see that VPN tunnel. Okay. So now that I have added the Defender, okay. So this Defender, as soon as you add it in the device, it will identify your account from your company portal and consume the Defender for endpoint licenses from the security, right? From your licensing. So it'll first check the licenses, and once it checks the licenses, once your particular user is assigned with the Defender for endpoint license, it'll start configuring by itself. Okay, if you have used Defender for iOS or Android, it takes the corporate account and starts using it. Okay. So the only other settings that you need to do is you need to come to the Defender for endpoint here, and you need to click here, connect iOS devices to Microsoft Defender for endpoint. You need to turn it on and turn it on here for Android as well. So once you turn it on, so you so once you turn it on, so Intune will go and this will tell the company portal that you can start sending signals to the Defender for endpoint console. So now if you actually go to security.microsoft.com, you'll start seeing those devices here as well. Okay, so before I move on to Defender for endpoint, okay, so I think people were asking about Defender for endpoint. So I'll just show you how it actually works. So any questions on so far? The reason why I really don't want to cover much about Android and iOS is many reasons. Okay, the first reason is it's pretty straightforward. If you have a device, you can practice it. Second thing is you'll not see any issues. Everything will work seamlessly. The third thing is in any interview, 80% of the questions are only related to Intune and Windows. Okay. The reason why there is less prominence when it comes to mobile devices is people, I mean, it's one-time configuration. As you can see, it's just one-time configuration. There's nothing else. The only cyclic process, only process that you might have to think about is your line of business applications. And apart from that, everything is automatic. Everything is automated. There's no other configurations that you have to do it. Okay, so just give me a minute break. Let me take some, get some water. And I'll start the Defender for endpoint. And I don't want to do tomorrow. I'll just skip the tomorrow classes. I will continue the Saturday or Sunday, whichever you choose, 2 hours for complete remaining questions, interview preparations, or whatever it is. Okay. So just give me a minute. Just unmute.